So thank you very much. It's a real pleasure having the opportunity to be here in Trondheim with all of you and having the opportunity also to share some thoughts that I hope at least some of them make some sense, especially after the inspiring presentation by Nicholas. What I'm trying to do is just to try to discuss with you and to present you my thoughts on how brands should innovate, because we're talking about a lot about what innovation, that we all should innovate, that this is key for trying to develop a competitive advantage, but are we doing it properly? Are we doing it on the most beneficial way for the purpose of the company? Well, we may raise some doubts regarding this. Right. Okay, first thing maybe that we should discuss is, do we really need to innovate? Because we talk a lot about innovation. Why do we need to innovate? Why brands need to innovate? First of all, I believe that if we take a look at most of the markets where we are competing, they are extremely mature. And in these extremely mature markets, many offerings seem pretty much the same. So it's extremely difficult to be perceived as different, to be perceived as relevant. So we're facing a really competitive and tough environment. And here innovation can be something that can allow us, okay, to be perceived as different and relevant. And if you look at consumers nowadays, they have a lot of options at their disposition. And also thanks to the rise of social media, for instance, you can compare now the ratings from other customers about these options that you have at their disposition. So it's not easy for brands because they have lots of competitors and customers are also much more informed than before. So this is raising, okay, much more pressure on the side of the companies in order to try to be different and relevant for customers. Moreover, what happens also is that on the other side we have some other markets which are emerging, for instance the BRIC countries, where in order to be successful when we want to compete, we need some different skills, maybe, than in the mature markets. Because, for instance, the big bulk of the customers, they belong to a low class that has not a lot of disposable income, and we cannot go just there with the products and offerings that we have for the mature markets. We need to innovate and adapt them for these countries. So innovation is also key in order to be successful in emerging countries. So here we have a scenario that I think that really is pushing companies for the need to be highly successful in innovating. Because in mature markets, you need to differentiate your offer. In emerging markets, you need to adapt it to the needs and to the restrictions that you have in this kind of countries. Sometimes related also to limitations regarding, for instance, logistics, distribution, whatever. So, if we need to innovate, then the following question possibly is, but how do we need to innovate? How should we do it? And how should we do it in order to be profitable, especially? According to my view, we have three different types of innovation. And we could decide to invest our budget in three different types of innovation. And the first one I would suggest to prioritize its concept innovation. I will be talking a bit more about that. This is a kind of innovation that is quite the breakthrough innovation, let's say, and that tries to create new markets. Okay. Another kind of innovation that we have at our disposition is like a renovation, trying to renovate the core products, the core brands that are making the vast majority of the profits of the company, but that we need to be constantly renovating them in order to maintain our competitive advantage. And finally, we have a third type of innovation, which I call it cosmetic innovation. Okay? These are minor innovations. For instance, one a manufacturer of soda drinks is introducing a new flavor into the market. Okay? Are innovations that are easy to copy and that are not really differential. And sometimes they just have to do with some minor elements of the offering. So, according to my view, brands should try to put a lot of emphasis on concept innovation, should also be emphasizing renovation, and should be cautious about not engaging in a lot of cosmetic innovations. However, if we take a look at how brands really innovate, the picture goes pretty the other way around. They spend a lot of money, time, and resources on pure cosmetic innovations. They develop some resources to renovation, and very few companies have clear strategies to pursue concept innovations. However, the companies that are able to achieve that are the ones that really are extremely profitable and become market leaders, market creators. So I would like to discuss these three types of innovation with you, and I would like to share also some examples about what are the actions that some of these companies and brands are undertaking. If we take a look at the number of innovations that we have on the market, and we have several boring academic studies on this, figures are pretty much the same, but more than 80% of the innovations that are launched into the market, they are just pure cosmetic innovations. I like this quote from Pat Conroy, who is the vice chairman at Deloitte, and he has this phrase. He says, only 4 in 10 consumer product good companies are investing more in product research than they were 10 years ago. They've lived on product extensions as opposed to developing truly innovative products. So we have this problem. We say we need to innovate, but maybe we are not doing it properly. We are putting our efforts, our resources in just product line extensions, cosmetic innovations. Talking about cosmetics, maybe let me give you an example. Okay, this is a brand that we all know probably, which is Head and Shoulders. Yeah, that and they have a really clear value proposition. It's especially helpful if you have this problem, and it provides a clear, rational benefit for the customer. When they launched this brand, Procter & Gamble, many years ago, they were extremely successful. This brand achieved to be #1 in the market and still has this position. However, of course, if you have a successful brand and a successful product, what happens is that immediately you will have lots of competitors that are going to copy your value proposition. So in order to try to maintain their position, what they have been doing during the last years is extending the product portfolio, launching new line extensions. So at some point in time, and this is not the entire picture of the portfolio, they arrived at a moment when they were having 27 different varieties of Head and Shoulders. Some of them quite funny. For instance, the Caribbean Breeze, the tropical lime, or the French mint. We can ask a simple question: do we need so many types of Head and Shoulders? Are they really valuable for the customers? I'm quite confused if I have to choose, maybe. Moreover, if I'm not only confronted with Head and Shoulders, but with all the other competitors that are offering similar products when I go to the supermarket, I get stressed. I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what to choose. And I think that this is a feeling that we all have. Sometimes when we are just running on the corridors, oh my God. I find it especially annoying when I'm buying yogurts. I love yogurts. I eat yogurt every night before going to sleep. And I like plain yogurt just with a bit of sugar. And many times I found that I'm eating it. How is this possible that it's so sweet? Of course, because I bought a yogurt that it's already adulterated, and I added extra sugar without realizing that I bought that, because there's such a variety that you end up not knowing what you buy, and you're confused. Barry Schwartz, who is a really interesting author, has written this book, which is the Paradox Choice, Why More is Less. And he explains how in really mature and developed societies, where we have a lot of options at our disposition, consumers are not necessarily more satisfied than where they have less options. In fact, having a reduced number of alternatives many times is much better. for customers. If we take now the organizational perspective on this problem, let's see what happens when we're introducing a new product line extension into the market, a cosmetic innovation. We have sales and we have time. Usually we introduce a line extension where we already have a core product, our main product, the one that is driving the big number of our revenues. Yeah? And we already have also some other minor products, some other line extensions that complement this core product. And for this core product, we have a given baseline sales, okay? So we have like an average sales a long time, and the same for this minor product line extension. What happens to our portfolio when we are introducing a new line extension? This is the graph of the sales of a line extension a long time, okay? And we have many evidence of this type of graphs from academic and professional data. If you take a look, you have a peak in sales on the short term because you're putting a lot of promotional effort into the launch also at the point of sale. However, after some time, this effect is diluted. And of course, as a new flavor or a new scent, in the case of Head and Shoulders, is not adding a lot of value to the customer, sales are going down really quickly. However, so you can see that this graph, in fact, is the same graph that you have for a price promotion. So product line extensions, cosmetic innovations that are launched into the market, they have the same type of way to work as price promotions. But they are much more dangerous. Because what happens with line extension, of course, is going to eat or to cannibalize part of the sales of my core product. And my most profitable product in my whole portfolio, usually, is this one, which was my heritage product. Moreover, of course, is going to cannibalize a bit of some other of the line extensions. So at the end, it's much more dangerous than a price promotion because a price promotion can cannibalize some of my other products, but just for a short period of time. That is sustainable. So what I can expect is diminishing return on my investments, and moreover, I have a portfolio that is much more complex to manage because the brand manager has many more products to manage. So be careful about that. Second point, if we try to look at which is the effect of a product line extension into the overall market, into the overall category where this product is competing, we can see that the long-term effects of this line extension are not extremely significant, and that sales remain flat again after a given period of time. But there are other nocive effects. For instance, that hurt. For instance, as a line extension, a cosmetic innovation is really easy to copy, I'm absolutely sure that my competitors, because of the pressures of the short time, will try to copy me. If they copy me, what happens is that there's an increase in the number of the total SKUs, stock keeping units, references that they want to be present in the shelves of the supermarket. Of course, shelves are limited, so I don't have unlimited space. And in order to compete for this space and to have my products present, I have to pay to the retailers. So there's an increase on the cost of listing, that is called, on the money that I have to pay to the retailer to have my product there. So what we have also is a reduction on the overall return on investment of the whole category. So you have a double pernicious effect on product line extensions. However, we love spending our time and our money on cosmetic innovations. Some figures, and let's see if Barry Schwartz was right when saying that less is more also for companies. When Procter & Gamble, we note its 26 varieties of Head and Shoulders anti-dandruff shampoo down to just 15, sales jump 10%. So less is more. We have a Spanish retailer called Mercadona that decided to cut down 8,000 references. 8,000 references. The result, sales increase 17%. Profitability increase close to 15%. This is the first type of innovation I wanted to discuss with you. And this is an innovation that we should pursue sometimes when the market is growing at some moment and we want to protect some of our space, but we should be careful on overextending our product line. Second type of innovation that I think that this is absolutely essential for any company, renovation. What's renovation about? Of course, if we are a brand and we are a leading brand, like for instance, Bernal for Henkel, this is one of the top detergent brands, okay, in many European countries. We have a threat nowadays. We have these private labels. These private labels that they are looking quite similar to our core products because they are mythos. They are copying us. They are copying even the packaging that we are using, and their price is usually 50% less than the one that top brands are offering. And this is what is explaining why they are growing so much. Of course, if you are in this situation, your competitive advantage on the long term is suffering. You are in a risky position. So what can you do? First of all, try to collaborate with your customers, try to conduct some research and see what's relevant for them. And if we were working with this brand and we conducted some ethnographic research. Okay, we inserted some cameras on the supermarket to see what people were doing when we're buying detergents. We conducted several types of research and we combined the results, but it was quite funny. What is people doing when they are buying detergents? They look at the different options when they are not sure. They take the bottle, they open it, and they smell it. Some of them, they even drink it. Don't do this. Okay, but and this is quite surprising. And we discovered that the main driver for sales in this market is the scent. If you have a superior scent, you're going to have high chances of have high sales. If that's the case, okay, if we want to renovate the value proposition, we need to work on building a superior scent, a scent that in blind test is perceived as really superior to the one of our competitors. Moreover, what we need to do also is try to make this really visible for the customer. So we decided also to change the packaging. Okay, you can see that it's a new scent with this flower that illustrates this, and moreover, we changed the packaging. Because what happens? Private labels are copying our packaging, but we were facilitating this because on all the subcategories where Henkel was present in the detergent market, they were having the same packaging for detergents, for softeners. If you have different packaging for different subcategories, you make life much more complicated for private labels because they cannot have economies of scale, use the same packaging. They have to develop different packages so their costs also increase and you're reducing the price gap. Okay? This is an example of how to renovate your core brand in order to maintain your competitive advantage. Okay? This led, again, to an increase in sales close to 25%. Okay? Right. This is an example from the US that I like quite a lot. It has to do with intimate feminine hygiene. Okay? So these are products for these days where women have the period. Okay? And if you take a look at how they look like, they are pretty much the same. They are pretty similar. They use these really soft colors. Okay? And the coat of colors of the overall category is pretty much the same. Moreover, if you take a look at the communication strategies that they are following and the executions are also pretty much the same, are about how great life can be if you use our product during these days. You can dance, you can enjoy jumping with a parachute, all this kind of activities. So Kotex, which was a brand in the US that was the fourth brand in the market, developed this new strategy.
How do I feel about my period? We're like this. I love it. I want to hold really soft things, like my cat. It makes me feel really pure. Sometimes I just want to run on the beach. I like to twirl. maybe in slow motion. And I do it in my white spandex. And usually by the third day, I really just want to dance. The ads on TV are really helpful because they use that blue liquid, and I'm like, oh, that's what's supposed to happen.
You buy Kotex, a new line of tampons, pads, and liners.
Okay. Yeah, that's the danger of YouTube, and anything can happen. Now I've lost this. This is usually what happens also to me. Okay, I've lost the pen. Here. So you can see that they are breaking the traditional value proposition, and they are saying, we're just providing something that is useful for you, but that's it. We are not promising anything that we cannot accomplish. Moreover, in order to stand out from the crowd, they develop this packaging, which is absolutely innovative and breaking the codes of the category, extremely visible. Okay? With this renovation of their proposal, they had 25% increase of sales. And from being the fourth brand in the US market, they become market leaders. Okay? So this is another example of how can you renovate your value proposition of your core brand in order to be successful by creating a sustainable competitive advantage. Another example, because I also want to provide you with some examples on retailing sectors, on services sectors. Okay? The case of Best Buy, that it's also quite well known, so most of you know it probably. These people decided that they wanted to, this is a retailer in the US that's selling electronic goods, basically, okay? And they find a common problem. When you're buying an electronic good, many times you do not know about the features of this, and it's quite difficult to decide which one to buy. And sometimes the salesperson is just at the moment with another client, with another customer, and you have left alone there, and you don't know what to do. Moreover, sometimes when you are at your home also and you try to use the device or to install it, you also have some problems. So they developed what they call the 12. 12 comes from the combination of two words. T and the W is from Twitter, and the help is from help. So we provide help through Twitter. What they did is they gave to all their employees a mobile, and in this mobile they have a Twitter account, and if you are in front of the shelves of Best Buy and you don't know what to decide, you have any question, even when you're at home and you want to use the product, you just tweet 12 force and your question. And this is something that arises at all the employees, all the salespeople of Best Buy. And in less than 1 minute, you have several answers to your question from people that really know about the product, not from a strange call center in any wire country that they don't understand anything about the product and about your needs. Okay? So they have been extremely successful on this, and the satisfaction indices of customers has increased a lot because of this new way to handle the brand experience and because of the renovation they've been undertaking. I have another case that I will share with you that has a lot in common with what Nicholas was saying before about sometimes I think that we do not challenge enough the established practices within a sector. We just do things because we have just been doing them like this for many years. And we don't challenge the way to do things. NH Hotels is a hotel company that was founded in Spain, that now is the third largest business hotel company in Europe and is operating in more than 25 countries all over the world. I was working with them also in a project because they developed a new brand identity, and the claim they launched to the market was, we take care of every detail. Of course, if you claim this, you really need to take care of every detail. And here I would like to remember a phrase from, a quote from Jeff Bezos, the CEO of Amazon.com, that I really like. And he says, marketing is really simple. It's just about two words: under-promise, over-deliver. But you usually do it the other way around. These guys were focusing on this, and we follow a process which is quite similar as the one that Nicholas was describing. We said, okay, if we want to take care of every detail, we need to know which are all the touch points that have a decisive impact on the final satisfaction or dissatisfaction of the customer. And we need to engage customers in order to know which are these touch points and what is annoying to them, what is surprising them, what is getting them motivated to come back to our hotels. Okay? We did this process, and we also encountered that the check-in was a moment that was extremely annoying, especially when you're going to a business hostel, because when you're traveling for business, you usually fly and you arrive quite late at the hotel. And 70% of the check-ins in this hotel chain, they take place from 7 o'clock in the afternoon until 10 something. Okay, so you've got a lot of people in a really reduced moment in time. So we decided to use the loyalty card, but in a different way. We inserted a chip, and once you have this chip, you can decide not to go through the reception. You can go to a machine that has a screen, insert the chip, and it recognizes you and says, welcome, Mr. Iglesias, your room is 303. And the same card is also the card that you use in order to open the door of your room. Is that providing value to the customer? Of course. Or when doing the checkout, what do you do with the checkout when you're traveling for a business trip? You have to carry your luggage with you. I'm carrying my luggage today, also. Quite annoying sometimes. Well, do we really need to ask our customers to leave the rooms at 12 if they are arriving at the hotel, 70% of them at 7? Do we need 7 hours to clean all rooms? No, but things have always been done like this. So why don't we challenge this? We segmented our customer base according to their value, to the most valuable customers. By default, we offer them to leave at 4:30. What happens is that they are much more satisfied because they can come back to the hotel after the meeting, they can take a shower, and moreover, an important number of them also eat at the hotel. So we increase satisfaction and average revenue per person, which is quite important. So we need to work much more on the brand experience, on the service sectors, in order to try to renovate our value proposition. Finally, let's talk about the third time of innovation, which I think is key if we want to be successful. Concept innovation. This is how a mature market looks like. And I was saying that it's really difficult to find really differential aspects between or among all the offerings. This is how a mature market looks like. So then why should we compete in this market? We should compete in this market if we are still having positive cash flows, but maybe we should be obsessed in trying to create a new market that can challenge this one, okay? Or that can complement this one. So why don't try to create and reel a new product category? Create a new market that we can rule, that we can make grow, and that we can also catch. I'm going to start by an extremely obvious example, okay, which is Apple. Apple is a company that is absolutely focused towards creating new product categories. They knew that there were laptops, they knew that there were smartphones, but they thought maybe we can create another product category. Everybody is going to associate us to this new product category if we are the first movers, and then some other competitors will enter and will help us make the category grow. But we will be the first one, so we will be able to charge a premium price for the long run. Even if in the long run, some other competitor has a bigger customer base than we have. We don't care. This is a clear example of what I'm talking about, and I just would like to show a video with you from Steve Jobs because he explains quite well this.
All of us use laptops and smartphones now. Everybody uses a laptop and or a smartphone. And the question has arisen lately, is there room for a third category of device in the middle? Something that's between a laptop and a smartphone. And of course, we've pondered this question for years as well. The bar's pretty high. In order to really create a new category of devices, those devices are going to have to be far better at doing some key tasks. They're going to have to be far better at doing some really important things. Better than the laptop, better than the smartphone. What kind of tasks? Well, things like browsing the web. That's a pretty tall order. Something that's better at browsing the web than a laptop? Okay. Doing email. Enjoying and sharing photographs. Video. Watching videos. Enjoying your music collection. Playing games. Reading ebooks. If there's going to be a third category of device, it's going to have to be better at these kinds of tasks than a laptop or a smartphone. Otherwise, it has no reason for being. Now, some people have thought that that's a netbook.
Yes, I think it's extremely clear. They know that if they want to be a successful company, what they need to do is to be innovative, but with a clear obsession, creating new categories, because you are creating a new market that you can make grow and you can exploit. And if you are the first mover, you are also the one that's setting the rules in this market. If you take a look at the evolution of the sales of tablets, you will see that in 2012 they are going to ship 75 million iPads, close to 75 million. The second player, it's going to sell less than half of it. Okay? You see the evolution, the forecast for the next years, and of course the second player is going to eat every time more market share from Apple, but there will be a price differential. Okay? This is quite important. However, we tend to think, and Nicholas also was making this point, that in order to be innovative, he was talking about that in order to co-create, technology is not the key thing, it's not the key aspect. I think that the key aspect is knowing that you need to find a concept that is relevant for customers, that is differential, and that can provide a substantial benefit to them. And you need to have this clear concept and then try to build a new market with this new concept. That's the case of also Kellogg's. Kellogg's has this traditional brand, which was Cornflakes, well established for many years. They had cereals. And they conducted some research because they saw that they had difficulties if they wanted to grow. They could go to new markets, new geographical markets, but in the markets where they were already well established, mature markets, line extensions were not enough. They were eroding, in fact, their return on investment. So if they want to grow, they had to look for other opportunities. And the best way to grow is creating a new product category. So they conducted research, and they saw that some people would be willing to eat something healthy in between hours if this was something convenient, also that they could carry with them. And they invented cereal bars. Very simple, but they've created a market that in 2011 was of $2 billion. You don't need a lot of technology to come up with this idea, but you need to come up with this concept innovation. However, when you're successful and a lot of brands start copying you, you will see that what I was talking about, cosmetic innovations. In 2011, just on the US market, appeared 550 line extensions of cereal bars. How can we cope with that as consumers? And how companies can also manage this complexity? Impossible. So my recommendation is before launching a line extension, please breathe deeply. Let me give you another example of a company that Nicholas has also mentioned, and that I think that is one of the hallmarks of concept innovation in the world. That's Danone. And they have the risk really clear in their DNA. They make a business out of plain yogurt, the one that I ate every night. But they conducted also research, and they saw that in most of the European countries, 60% of the population that is aged over 40 years have the potential to develop high levels of cholesterol. And they say, that's an issue. So why don't we launch a liquid yogurt that is going to help you to prevent your cholesterol rising, and that can even help you to diminish the level of cholesterol? They launched it, and they created a new market that in 6 years in Spain is of 150 million euro. And of course, as they are perceived as the authentic brand that has invested in R&D, that is partnering with universities, with labs, in order to develop this really scientific product, they have 70% market share. Okay. Some other examples. Nintendo. This market was dominated by Sony, okay, by some other players, and you needed a joystick to play. So you need to have some skills in order to play it. And these kind of skills, usually they have it young people. Moreover, having a joystick implies that you cannot really socialize with others. You're there paying attention to the joystick. So they thought, why can't we develop something that allows people to play all together in a much more social way? And we develop an interface that doesn't need any kind of device in order to play, because then we would be appealing to a larger target. And they developed the Nintendo Wii. In fact, Wii stands for we, together, social, two individuals, the two eyes, okay? And as you don't have this interface, the joystick, you can add a lot of customers to this market. Older people that they would have never played these kind of games. Nintendo had a market share around 15% worldwide. Last year, he had a market share of 50%, okay, thanks to the launch of this brand. Finally, also one concept innovation that I think is quite brilliant. We all love giving presents to the people we love at special occasions. And lots of times we think about giving as a present, for instance, a romantic dinner in a restaurant or a weekend in a hotel. Think about that, Magnus. Okay? However, how do you make this present tangible? Well, there was a company, which was Smartbox in Europe, that they thought, maybe we can offer these nice packages where you can find a romantic weekend. And you have a choice of 100 hotels within Spain, within France, within UK, that we have reached an agreement on the price, so they all offer the same price to us. You buy this box, and you can give it to any person. And they just need to enter the code within the box, make the online reservation, and enjoy the experience. In 9 years, they have reached 100 million euros of annual revenues. Not a really technological concept, just a really bright idea, which is customer-oriented. Okay. I'll escape this. Just to highlight the importance of concept innovation, if you take a look at brands as, for instance, Unilever, 70% of the profits come from brands that at their time created a new category. And if you take a look at the 50 top brands in the world, you will see they have this strange color, which is not the black one, that they were creating at a category, or at least one category, at some moment in their history. Okay? So it pays off creating new product categories. However, you need to know how to manage the innovation portfolio, because of course, when we're talking about concept innovations, they need much more time to go into the market, and as the level of disruption is higher, you are taking much more risk. However, you're also expecting a higher return on investment. So you cannot put all the eggs in that basket, because then you're taking a lot of risk. So probably what you need to do is to have in your pipeline of innovation a good 2 or 3 projects that they are centered on renovating your core brands, have really few projects, but really focus on concept innovation, and maybe a bigger amount on cosmetic innovations, but being careful of not overextending over investing in this kind of innovations. Yeah, you need to find the balance here. Just to finalize, I would like to discuss some key success factors that I think that you need to take into consideration when working on brand innovation. The first one, they are all pretty simple, but I think that they work. But you can challenge me afterwards and we can discuss on them. First one, don't overextend the line. One in, one out. So if you don't want to overextend the line, every time you introduce an extension into the market, remove the one that is performing the worst. Because if not, you go on increasing your portfolio. Second one, don't cannibalize your previous portfolio only if there's a clear purpose to it. Okay? And remember, sometimes you might cannibalize part of the sales of your other products, but what you're interested is that after the launch of the new innovation, the overall return on investment of the whole portfolio has to be higher than before the launch. That was the case of Coke with Coke Zero. They had traditional Coke, they have Coke Light, which was mainly targeted towards women. And when they were conducting research, men, they were saying, we don't drink Coke Light because it doesn't taste well. It doesn't mix well with alcohol also. This is the things that they are telling you if you ask directly, as Nicholas was saying. But if you go deeper, at the end, the final motivation for not buying this product was because I don't want to be seen with a feminine product in my hands. So that's why they created the Me Too of the Coke Light, but with the dark color, especially targeted to men. They cannibalize part of the market, but at the end, men feel that this is a healthier product, so they can consume much more Coke than if they just have the possibility to drink the regular Coke, which has a lot of sugar. So the overall sales of the whole portfolio has increased. You were talking about Ford and the fastest horse, okay? Another recommendation that I have is don't over-listen to your consumers. I mean, it's extremely important to listen to them, to make them engage into even co-creation activities, as Nicholas was saying. However, at some point, what I'm more interested is in trying to know which are their problems, the insight they can provide me. But I also have some responsibility as the brand owner. And sometimes I know really well the technology, and some of the users do not know it. And I have to see how I can manipulate it in order to give a real answer to their needs, okay? That can better perform some other options about the competitors. I usually use a really simple video that illustrates this point, which I think it works quite well.
Thank you for your time and welcome to our focus group. Today we're going to show you an idea and ask for your opinion. This is called a wheel. Now, according to its developers, it'll change the way we work and live. Why? Because it rolls. It can also be added to wagons to make moving a heavy load easier. Your opinions?
If it rolls, that means it could roll away and get lost, right? Or it could roll over your foot. It's the round shape that disturbs me. It's very feminine. I can't imagine any caveman wanting to be seen with that.
I wouldn't.
And this added to wagons thing, it sounds very complicated. Is there an easier version?
You know what?
Do you have it in square?
No square.
If there was a square one,
Yeah?
it didn't roll. Then maybe I would think about buying one. Nice try.
Okay, yeah, of course I'm taking it to extreme, and I do believe in customer engagement, but I also believe that brands have the responsibility to facilitate the process and to direct the process, okay? Because they also know which are their purposes and they know which are the technology that they have at their disposition. Another important point, the second year. Usually when we have an innovation, we launch it onto the market, and the first year we devote all our attention, resources to this innovation because we want to make it successful. But the next year, the second year, we already have a new innovation. That's the one we're paying attention to. However, if we look at the innovation adoption by customers, most of the most successful innovations that have been launched, they take more than 18 months to get an acceleration on their sales. So the second year is extremely key. And we need to have this continuous support for this innovation. The harakiri, which is quite important also. Fine, support the second year, but if it's not working, kill it. Because it can also damage your reputation. Danone had another bright idea. This was Essensis. It was a product, also a liquid yogurt, that you were drinking it before going to bed. That's not the one I drink. And when you were drinking it, it was helping you from the inside to improve your skin, taking care of your skin. Of course, even if it had some properties that they were helping in that, customers were not believing that. It was not jumping, rocketing on the sales. You need to be fast and detect it, and cut also. Sometimes you need to take some hard decisions before it's too late. I'm not going to enter a lot into detail into this, but it's important to build a supportive network. Some of the best ideas that we get when we want to innovate, most of the times they come really far away from our business. People that they don't know anything about our business, but that for this reason they have a completely different approach to the problem that they have, and they bring a relevant solution to our problems. There's several networks, for instance, Innocentive, where ideas post, where companies and brands post their innovation problems. They also post the reward, and they get a lot of insights for customers and from other stakeholders. Innoget is another web that offers the same service. Nicholas was talking about P&G, and we were also discussing if we should only rely on customers. P&G wants to involve in the innovation process companies, individuals, independent entrepreneurs, all these kind of people, also academics. And they have in their webpage which are their main priorities regarding innovation and which are the problems that they want to solve. And if you have an idea that you think that can help us, you can submit it, and they will take it into consideration. So this is a way to try to build on the ideas of others. You have been talking also about the Mio, which I think is a great example. This is a car that was built together, was co-created with the customers of the brand in Brazil. And the whole process was extremely interesting. Okay? And a lot of interesting needs and hidden motivations appear during the process, and they build something which is quite interesting. Two last things. Inno-import. Global companies that they are present in many countries, and not only global companies, also small companies that are smart enough to have a year or 2 years and the 2 eyes on some other markets, can get a lot of learnings from that market. Unilever, when they wanted to enter into the Indian market, they saw that the population was having a low disposable income, so they could not go into this market with their traditional products. They had to go with a formula that was not so good, but that was cheaper to produce, and they work with small packagings, so that every unit is cheaper also for the customers. And this was a success in India. However, when the economic crisis arrived to Europe, they start to see that a lot of customers were struggling to arrive to the end of the month, and because their salaries were also reduced, and they were struggling with this. So they decided to import this product from there under the new brand, but of course they could offer it at a much lower price than their core products. So they were able to compete with the private labels. Okay, so in no import. And finally, you need to try to build a supportive culture. There's many studies that demonstrate that if you want to be truly innovative, you need to build a supportive culture. And the companies that have high alignment between their innovation objectives and the corporate culture are able to build much more enterprise value than the rest. So this is what I wanted to share with you. You should focus on concept innovation and renovation. Try to avoid cosmetic innovations while finding the equilibrium. And please take into consideration these key success factors. And just to finish, I would also like to finish using a Norwegian word, but I'm not going to assume as many risks as you did. So I just would say tack. Thank you.
Are there any questions for Mr. Iglesias? Yeah,
I just have a comment, because I work in the consumer goods industry for some years, and in Scandinavian countries, and I experienced that, and I've done a lot of cosmetic innovation. And not because of the fun part of it, but because it was required, because the retailers required it to keep your market share and to keep your shelf space. So I think the retailers have the power position here to make changes, so you don't have to do the cosmetic innovations.
That's why you need to be careful. You need to have clear into your mind which are the effects of cosmetic innovation. Sometimes you are forced to. But the best thing is to work in category management and log with them and trying to demonstrate that it's better to try to develop some other categories if possible. And we have many examples. That's why also these fast-moving consumer goods companies, they are trying to develop these departments. You cannot escape from developing some of them, but you need to control. Because another of the problems on the fast-moving consumer goods industry, and I don't know if you would agree with me, is that brand managers stay for a very short time in their positions. So every 2 years you have a new brand manager, and of course this guy wants to leave his imprint in the brand, and the best way to do it is by launching something new. And the end, when this applies to all the brands of the company, you have a mess in the portfolio.
You mentioned the Mercado, or one of your retailers?
Yeah, Mercadona, yeah.
Who had done this less brands and increased their income with 17%. And that was a retailer who made that decision, not the suppliers.
But they kill the line extensions that they were not adding value. Of course, they didn't kill any core brand because they are driving sales and profitability to them. So you could see really clearly which were the brands that they were cutting. Any other question?
Any more questions? All right. At the chance. Well, first one more question, okay?
I'm working in a company that focuses a lot on innovation processes, yeah? High technology. They have a great focus on the innovation process, not on commercialization. In your experience, how much do consumers, companies, spend on the innovation process in comparison to the actual commercialization?
Thank you very much. I think that's an excellent question. He's asking that companies spend a lot of time and efforts and they invest a lot on coming up with new innovations, but at the end they also need to innovate in launching these innovations into the market. So at the end, according to my experience, how much they invest in each of these stages, because we have just been discussing about the generation of the new innovations, but we have not been discussing how to launch them into the market. I would say that it really depends. I mean, on the company, and we could find different extremes. But for me, the main problem is that maybe most of the companies also sometimes are not following the proper approach to launch a new innovation, especially regarding concept innovations. When you try to launch a concept innovation into the market, this is something that can be appealing to a really wide audience. So what you don't want is to target it to a really specific segment from the beginning. In marketing, they teach us that you need to find a segment and pursue it. I don't believe in that for new concept innovations that can be appealing for a large market. I think that you need to target a wide audience with a really simple product that you can explain really well, which is the benefit in relation to some other categories, and then you can make it much more complex. You can segment the market. Think about the first iPod, one color, white, just really few functionalities. Later on, it was much more complex. Yeah, some other functionalities, video, different colors available, sizes. But at the very beginning, you just want to explain what's this, what is new, and why it can be so appealing to you. And I think that most of the problem is that we do not invest properly the money when we launch it. That's my point of view.
All right. Well,
thank you very much. Thank you.